you looking to learn more about your spiritual journey? Are you on a healing journey? Have you tried conventional ways of healing but didn't get the results you desired? If so, this podcast is for you. My name is Reverend Dr. Jackie Cope, and I'm a metaphysical minister, intuitive guide, and teacher. Here at Raven Rabbit, we believe that your ancestors, spiritual guides, and divine self are ready and eager to help you heal and prosper. We approach life, healing, and happiness through a holistic, indigenous spiritual lens to create the lives we want. Join me to radically change your life today. Hello, and welcome back to the Wellness Studio podcast. Today, we are so fortunate and blessed to hear from Victoria. Victoria is a local Temecula business owner, transformational coach, and the co-founder of the Temecula Salt Cave and Holistic Center, a beautiful space she created alongside her daughter, Julia. Together, they intentionally created a space for healing, growth, connection, and wellness through salt therapy and a variety of holistic experiences. And I have to tell you, this conversation shifted something in me. There are perspective shifts in this episode that I think so many of us need to hear and actually begin implementing in our lives. I walked away from our conversation thinking differently about my morning routine, the intentions I set for my day, and most importantly, what it means to show up authentically myself. Victoria also shares about the Phoenix Rising Project, an in-person transformational experience beginning in September 3rd here in Temecula. It's designed to help people recognize the beliefs, patterns, and identities they may have outgrown and begin making conscious choices about how they want to live moving forward. And please stay with us till the end. Victoria gives a piece of advice that, in the moment, felt like she was speaking directly to me. But as I sat with it afterwards, I realized, this message isn't just for me, it's for all of us. If you're local in the Temecula area, I encourage you to check out Victoria's work, the Phoenix Rising Project, and the Temecula Salt Cave. And if you're planning a trip to Temecula or Southern California in general, put the Salt Cave on your list of places to experience. I'm so excited for you to hear this conversation. Let's get into it. Okay. Hello, Victoria. I'm so glad that you are here. Welcome to the Raven Rabbit Wellness Studio podcast. Um, I wanted to start all of these podcasts off by asking all of my participants the same question, generally the same question. So, what does spirituality mean to you?
Well, first, I'm going to change my name to my actual name here really quick. There we go. So, thank you, first of all, also for having me, Jackie. I appreciate being
Yeah.
here. And spirituality for me, I think is encompassed by just one word, oneness, like I think for me, it's getting that there's more than just this physical plane and understanding that I am not separate from everything around me that I can see and that I can't see. So that's what spirituality is for me.
I love that oneness. That's such a good answer. Has
Thanks.
your has your definition of spirituality changed throughout your life to then leading up to oneness, or has it always kind of felt like oneness?
No, it's definitely changed. I was raised Catholic. My dad was a very devout Catholic, and mom
Hmm.
went to church and stuff. She wasn't as, religious as my father was, but I, grew up in that mentality of the Catholic faith and so on. And it was very structured and a lot of rules and a lot of, like masses were always the same and that type of thing. And I think as I got older and I started to expand more and explore different religions and theologies and saw that there's more out there, then I think that really shifted my definition over the course of time, just being in
Very.
self-exploration.
That's nice. Yeah, I think a lot of people who've been through the religious aspect can have a similar story as yours, is that they went out and saw so much more and there's so
Yeah.
much to explore and learn. I was opposite. My parents didn't have a religion. My mom's Native American, we're Washoe, so we talked about spirituality, but there was no structure of like church. And I always had 1,000 questions, and my parents would just let me go wherever. They're like, "Oh,
That's
your friend's
great.
Mormon? Go for it. Oh, your grandma
Nice.
wants to take you to religious science? Have fun." So I got to explore them all, and I love it all. I always found
That's
good
awesome.
things in all of them, and I enjoyed it. So, was
Nice.
there a particular experience or season in your life when wellness and spirituality became more than an interest and it became a part of how you really wanted to serve others?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done a lot of self-development work starting in my mid to late 20s. And I think being in that self-development world where you're really looking inward and getting connected to how you view the world and how you see things and questioning, your why am I here? That kind of conversation. I
Mm-hmm.
think definitely in my late 20s, early 30s, I started to really be in that question of like, what do I believe? What do I, choose to believe? Because faith is that's the word, right? Faith. You have to like just suspend any logic or what you think you know
Mm-hmm.
and dive into maybe something that you're not sure if it is the way that, the truth, the capital T truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have faith that it is. So I would say that's kind of when I started to really dive into spirituality and wellness as one, working on myself and questioning what's out there, that we're not alone.
Yeah. So you are the owner and operator for the Salt Cave, and that is just so fascinating. Can you tell us, like, what is the Salt Cave, and maybe
Yeah.
even take us back to the beginning of how this came to be? Because you're talking about your late 20s, early 30s. Did you start having this idea?
No, not at
No, not
all.
then.
So, no, Salt Cave was so. In doing a lot of the self-development work and everything else, I loved that work. I felt like it resonated with me and it made a big impact on my life and then as I came back and I coached others and supported others through the trainings that I as of late have been producing, it was really just an opportunity for me to contribute, to make a difference in the world. And I worked for the company that used to produce the trainings back in the day for about 5 or 6 years. And then my daughter, who turned 18, she had always been around me having coaching conversations with people and talking to people about this work. And I finally said, Look, you're 18. Do you want to do this work now? And she
Mhm.
said, Yeah, I think I do. And as she was going through the third phase, which is leadership, a 3-month coaching program, the principal of the company decided that she did not want to produce the trainings any longer. She wanted to focus on some other things. And a lot of us who were graduates were just like, oh no, we really want this work to be around. And, it's made such an impact for us and so on. So shortly after that, I had a brainstorm one morning. I woke up. I sometimes get these downloads like either in the night or
Mhm.
the morning. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if we ran this like, a club and the graduates produced it and we hired the trainers and all of that. So I called the principal of the company who was actually a second level trainer and I said, here's my idea. What do you think? She's like, I think it could work. And so,
Mhm.
because I had worked for the company, she's like, you're probably one of the only people that I would trust to do this. So I produced these trainings for about 4 or 5 years, had over 400 people go through, and, a lot of healed marriages, a lot of people just really moving out of depression, getting to really see themselves for who they are, all of that. So I did that for 4 or 5 years, and then things started to slow down. Was right smack dab in the middle of the pandemic as well. So we had to like pivot and
Mhm.
shift and do things online. And when it started to slow down, I'm always like, okay, that's a sign from the universe that something else is here for me. I've got to move on to something else. And around that time, I had gone to Kentucky and visited a salt cave. And my life is very busy. I'm a full-time real estate agent. I produce trainings. I
Mhm.
have managed property management. I manage about 10 other properties. I run the salt. Well, now I run the salt cave, but back then I didn't. So a lot of things going on for me. I'm very heavily involved with the Porsche Club. I was president at the time or started a club out here in Temecula. So I don't ever or up until then, I hadn't really ever taken time for myself, to just be quiet and just
Yeah.
have me time. And what I loved about the Salt Cave experience that I had in Kentucky was it was just 45 minutes of me time. No phone, no busyness, just zoning out and just being connected to myself. And that I felt was so wanted and needed, especially here in California. So when I would travel, I would seek out salt caves and visited a bunch of them, got a lot of ideas. And then at some point, actually, when my father passed, he had left my daughter and I a little bit of money in an IRA. And rather than have her have access to, cash, I was like, hey, I'd love to teach you how to become an entrepreneur. What do you think
Mm,
about opening this business with me? And she's very holistically minded as well. And she was like, yeah, I would love that. So we opened it up. I, put in some extra funds to make it happen. And so she and I run it together, which is such a gift, to be able
yeah.
to have this business with my daughter and teach her how to be self-sufficient and run a business and all of that good stuff. So that kind of was the catalyst to it, was just, hey, we have this opportunity. This is a vision I've had. It's another way for me to contribute, make a difference for people, create healing opportunities. And so that was the Salt Cave. So it is much more than just a salt cave. So we
Yeah.
have two pink Himalayan man-made caves. So there's, loose Himalayan salt on the floor, think like sand on the beach, but it's salt. We've
Hmm.
got boulders on the walls. We have illuminated wow walls, we call them, with the bricks of salt. We've got little twinkly stars on top of the ceiling in our community caves. We have one big one that we call the community cave that can accommodate about 12 to 13 zero gravity chairs, and people go in. They get some binaural beats playlists that they choose. They're all different themes. Like one is relaxation, one is anxiety reduction, one is abundance, one is joy. And they can pick what they want, put their headphones on. They lean back in those zero gravity chairs and just super zone out. I wake up a lot of people often.
Yeah. Can
But when
imagine.
we're, yeah, so when we're not doing top of the hour sessions like that in the evenings and sometimes in the afternoons, we have classes. So we'll do sound baths in the salt cave, and we'll take all the chairs out and do yoga and qigong. We'll do, one of my favorites is cello in the cave,
Wow.
which is so beautiful, and
Yeah.
all kinds of really cool things. Right now, I'm kind of in my going through perimenopause stage of life. And so like we're
Hmm.
starting to do some more classes to, help people with any symptoms that they have that are perimenopausal as well. So I love the format of it, that it can really just accommodate anything. And I have people who walk in all the time as practitioners and go, here's what I do. I'd love to work here. And if we don't have anything like it, I'm usually really open to that.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah.
So
So we've
you, yeah,
got
you
that.
said a bunch about like how taking time for yourself when you went on
Yeah.
that trip was a big eye opener for you. So I
Yeah.
think that's really important to like point out for the listeners too. Like it's so important to take that time. For me, it's always been yoga because
Oh,
same
nice.
thing,
Love
like,
yoga.
the phone is in the purse away and I'm just like doing yoga and I'm more
Yes.
focused on me. And
Yeah.
same thing with meditation as well, where I'd imagine the salt cave is very meditative and you get to have
Very.
that time.
And we have all kinds of other things. Like we have this thing called the Pandora Star, and it's this disc, and it has over 40 different programs, and it taps into, it's a flickering light therapy. It taps into your pineal
Mm,
gland, and it creates new neurological pathways in the brain. So, but what I love about it is when I do it, a 15, 20-minute session, people are like, oh, I felt like it was 40 minutes. And it's not, just the time flies by, and you feel super meditative after. So it's a really good entryway into a practice of meditation.
that
Yeah.
is really neat. I'm
hmm
very interested in that.
Yeah, you'll have to come check us out. I
Yeah,
mean, we do
that's really cool.
massage, facial. I have a tarot person who comes, medium, all kinds of things. So a lot of fun there.
So I also loved how you said you are building this with your daughter, which is so
Yeah.
amazing. What has
Mhm.
it been like building something centered around healing and wellness, but you're doing that together as a mother-daughter duo?
It's been beautiful. My daughter just turned 29. So she and I have been through a lot in our lifetime together, and she's grown so much and so incredibly. And whenever I need support, she's the person I reach out to because she knows me so well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she's doing all kinds of really beautiful things to also stretch and grow herself. Like she's putting together a human design program for the cave. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's just so much potential of growth for her. So to be doing this with her is just so beautiful because I feel like I'm really leaving my legacy with her and teaching her how to, be a successful entrepreneur, which, before she was clocking in, clocking out. That's all fine and dandy, but, if you really want to make a big impact. Sometimes we have to do more than that. So, but
Mm-hmm.
it's been beautiful and very enriching, and I get to see her more, which is so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I followed my mom's footsteps and she's a teacher. I became a teacher. And there was a point where we were working kind of at the same school. She's high school, it was a K through 12. I taught kindergarten, she taught high
Oh,
school
nice.
math. But like, yeah,
Yeah,
that time together of commuting together, all that time we spent together in that phase of my life was very special. And as now I'm venturing out into my entrepreneurship and getting into education consulting, I work with my mom a lot on the
nice.
things that I'm looking for because we both have our doctorates in curriculum and instruction. So I'll be like making lessons and I'll bring it back to her. So I know that working relationship is really nice and really special. So
Yes,
that's
definitely.
that's cool. You guys get to talk about healing and spirituality, where my
Yeah.
mom's learning that stuff from me. I was starting to do my mom's human design on her, and she was like, "What? How is this so accurate? Like, what is this?" So it's fun that I get to experience that with her too.
Yeah, and it's so nice when, the kids can teach the parents because I learn a lot from Julia. She teaches me almost daily something new, so it's really beautiful.
Yeah. So you had this vision of the salt cave together. So what was the vision beyond just the salt cave? Because you kind of touched on a little bit, like the light therapy.
Yeah, so we just wanted to create a center for people and give them options. There's so many different modalities for healing right now. I think people are
Yes.
waking up to frequency and vibration. And, we just bought this vibroacoustic bed where you put these headphones on and there's a playlist, and the whole bed vibrates according to the playlist. And creates just this really centered feeling and reduces anxiety and stress. I think we're so constantly stressed in this world today. There are so many things going on that we feel like are out of our control, but what we can control is how we relate and respond to them all, right? And
Exactly.
so we have tons of, ways to support people through that, whether it's through, I mean, we have an aura reading machine, which is super cool. You put your hand on this electromagnetic plate, it tells you what your aura is, which is kind of like a personality style test, but just your
Mm-hmm.
electromagnetic field. And it'll tell you which chakras are in balance and which ones are out of balance. And as we're talking
Mm-hmm.
through it, sometimes they shift. Like people start realizing, oh, that's out of balance. And we talk about what could work, and then boom, it starts to show imbalance. So
Mm-hmm.
there's so many just different rich things that we do there that I feel like whatever you're looking for, you'll get support. Even if it's just aches and pains in your body. We've got a red light machine, a huge one. We have massage, and our therapists are the best. Like I love my team. I have really
Mm-hmm.
attracted some of the most amazing people, I think, in this healing, area. And you'll get to meet some at that fair, so it'll be really cool.
Yes, that is exciting. So what do
Yeah.
you personally love most about being in the cave when you're doing it for yourself and experiencing it?
Yeah, I think when I'm there, there's just an exhale moment, you know? Like even people who
Mm-hmm.
walk through the door, they're like, oh, it smells so good in here. It feels so good in here. Just the energy is different. So I love that. I love really just having a beautiful space to just exhale and get connected to myself in some way, shape, or form. I'll be honest, I don't use it as much as I should. I'm working there or working somewhere else or, coming for classes, which is great, but my entrepreneur brain is like, oh, I can hear the bathroom, or I was like, is the noise too
Mm-hmm.
loud out there? So
Mm-hmm.
that's part of my practice is like I really did create it for all these things and I get to eat my own dog food. I get to go there more often and be
Mm-hmm.
in it and practice it more. And I'm teaching in there sometimes as well. And that's always a great opportunity to have mirrors reflect back at me and whatever's going on with the people that I'm teaching, I'm like, oh, that's mine to grow in too. And I get to learn that as
Mm-hmm.
well. So that's what I love most about it is just the opportunity to pause and then the opportunity to grow and learn and expand.
Beautiful. So, like you were saying earlier, there's so many approaches to wellness now. Like, there's so many modalities. What do you
Yes.
think people are searching for underneath all of that when we take back all the modalities?
Yeah, I think healing, but ultimately joy and like my favorite word is bliss, Like I feel like one of my missions or things that I'm really committed to in life is supporting people in living their bliss, Because I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we carry a lot of pain, and we're present to sometimes where it comes from, and sometimes we're not, and sometimes we're on autopilot and we don't really realize why results are showing up the way that they are in our lives. And so they're suffering from that in whatever way, shape, and form. Sometimes it shows up in our bodies because our bodies hold on to a lot of what goes on here.
Yeah,
And so I think people are looking for relief. They're looking for ways to heal so that they can really experience their bliss.
I agree. That's such a beautiful answer. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
Do you think we've gotten disconnected from knowing how to slow down and listen inward and just simply be ourselves?
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like this world is so fast paced, especially in America. If you go to Europe, because I travel a ton, it's so different.
Mm-hmm.
People take like
Absolutely.
3-hour lunches, and we're like, get it in, get it out, and go on to the next thing.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think people have gotten disconnected to what it means to just be. And and I think that that is the antidote to a lot of suffering and stress and whatever, even just breathing. Sometimes we forget to breathe. And so if you can slow
Mm-hmm.
down and be in a space where there's nothing to do and you can just sit there and focus on expanding your stomach and contracting it and just like breathing, that's so healing just in itself.
Yeah, I agree. As I went through my spiritual journey, I learned so much like the holding the breath, the tightness in the
Yeah.
shoulders, like you're just doing it all the time, like shallow breaths to get through the day and not
Yeah.
that slowing down and
Yeah.
taking a moment. So you've worked in transformational coaching as well as the holistic wellness. Where do you see the connection between mind, body, emotions, and your spirit?
I mean, I think it's all interconnected. I think things happen, we make up something about them, we feel an experience about it. It gets maybe locked into our bodies in the form of pain or trauma or something like that. And then we don't feel free. We don't feel connected to spirit. We get so mired in what's going on physically on this plane and what we have to do next and all of that kind of stuff. And our mind can just go crazy and race, 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 race. And what I found is that if I slow down my mind and I really, when I'm in a meditation practice and I'm really taking the time to slow things down, life flows more easily, more elegantly. Things just sort of happen. Pathways show up where I didn't think they were possible, all of that good stuff. It's kind of like magic. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I think people know this, and I'm speaking for myself too, totally. Like, I
Yeah,
know if I meditate every day, life will be good. And I think life gets in the way a lot of the times. We get so busy and we get so distracted by all the things we have to do that, I don't take those moments. And then I pay the prices, that show up in my body. But I think when you can slow your mind down, then you're connected to spirit, you're connected to your body. All of it kind of becomes one. And then that's when the ease shows up. So that's what I've learned is if I'm too much in one, or if I'm really up, I'm not usually way up. I'm usually here. But, if you're too in spirit and you're also not grounded, then
exactly.
there's a balance. So it's really about figuring out what is that balance for each and every individual and how they get to create it so that things do flow for them in their lives.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. That goes back to a lot of what I teach in my courses of the mind and what we're
Yeah.
thinking, and then we like hold on to whatever we assign that meaning to be.
Yes.
Whether that's true or not, or came from a regulated space, we're just like, that's what it means now, and this always means this for me. And then we act from there. We just like
Yeah.
kind of continue on. And I love what you were saying about also we can be too far in spirit and we
Mm.
see that with the spiritual bypassing, where it's like we're going
Yeah.
to ignore everything and not deal with it because it's all good and it's all okay,
Yeah.
but we have to deal with
Yes.
the realities too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And, I think you can deal with the reality without it being so hard and challenging too, Acknowledging that there's a breakdown is the first step, right? And then you don't have to get stuck in or stay in it because I think when we do spiritual bypass, we're really not moving forward. We're really not cleaning anything up. It
Yeah.
just keeps stuck in place.
Yep, we get to see it again.
Yes.
That's what I'd say. We get
Until
to
we learn.
experience it again.
Yes.
We get the
Yep.
joy.
Hmm.
So you've seen a lot of people walk through your doors at the Salt Cave with stress and grief, change, just all types of life circumstances. What have you learned from witnessing people who come into a space intentionally created for their healing?
I feel like there's a safety that people feel in that space, we do full moon ceremonies, where we do a burn ceremony at the end, and there's all, usually always tears happening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think because people walk into this space and it feels nice and it smells nice and it sounds nice, all of those senses can,
Mm-hmm.
relate to that exhale again. And then when we can be in that exhale state of mind, then your walls come down and your heart comes out, and you can actually allow yourself to feel and heal. I think that's what happens
Yeah.
for people when they walk in.
Yeah. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
I want to shift a little bit. You brought up a lot about how you had all the programs and training that you've done, but you're working on a very specific one called Phoenix Rising Project. So what is the Phoenix Rising Project?
So the Phoenix Rising Project is basically a lot of the training work I've done introduced a ton of really beautiful distinctions like be, do, have, right? Because like in the world today, our focus is do, have, be. Like if I work really hard, then
Mm,
I'll have a lot of money and then I'll be abundant and free, right?
yep.
Or have, do, be. If I get this fancy car and buy this nice house and have all the things, then I can do more. I can go out, I can be with people, I can travel, I can, whatever. And then I'll be successful. And like what we really talk about is be, do, have. Like at the end of the day, the person that you are when you are your most elated, blissful, joyful, whatever, who's that person? And if maybe that person is confident, maybe that person is courageous, maybe they're a leader, maybe they're passionate, right? So if you go and be that It's like I tell people sometimes you wake up in the morning and next to your bed is this portal and you stand in it, and in it is confidence, courage, passion, whatever that is for you. You stand in it, you fill yourself up with that, and then you go out in your day and you do the things that you're supposed to do in your day from that, space, then the results you have are going to be extraordinary in that way. So it's like instead of doing things or having things to be what you want, be what you want, be who you're committed to being in the world. And then everything will flow from there. So we teach that. We teach victim versus responsible, right? Because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times people operate like victim and somebody cuts you off on the freeway and you're like, ah, and freaking out and all that good stuff. Whereas if you could be responsible, and I have it like source, like that everything is happening for a reason, right? Maybe this person cut me off because they had an emergency to attend to, and now I can be compassionate for them and, send them love. And then that taps me into my heart space, and then that helps me have my day be even vibrating on a higher level. Or if something happens, like you lose your job, rather than being a victim to your boss or the company or whatever, really getting like, okay, if this happened perfectly for a reason, what is that? Maybe there's another career that it's time for me to step into, or something that I'm more passionate about that now I have time to do. And just that shift in interpretation can create such amazing results in your life. And not only that, but then you can actually enjoy the journey too. So, Phoenix Rising introduces a lot of these distinctions, but we also look at what's your paradigm? What's the way you see the world, and what do you believe about you, the world, other people, all of that? Because we all have those beliefs. Some of them are great. Like I had a belief growing up that I was a good student. I like that belief. That has served me. I'm going to keep that one. But I
Mm-hmm.
also grew up, my dad, when I got a B, would be like, you got a B, why didn't you get an A? And he had the best intentions and he just wanted me to be the best I could be. But my little girl hurled it like, oh no, that's not good enough. Nothing I do is good enough. And then
Mm-hmm.
we collect evidence about those limiting beliefs, because it's just what we know. And most times, we're not even aware we're collecting evidence. And so then,
Yeah.
you grow up and, you have a relationship, and then that person is putting you down all the time. Like, oh, I'm not good enough. And then that keeps propagating itself. So in the training, in the Phoenix Rising program, we really look at, okay, what are my limiting beliefs? Where did they come from, 0 to 8? Because usually there's some experience that happened, and then
Yeah.
you make up this belief, and then you kind of keep being right about it throughout your life. So we look at, okay, what are my limiting beliefs? Where did they come from? What happened? Because sometimes people know, and sometimes we don't know. It's locked in our subconscious somewhere. So we
Yeah.
do experiential processes and practices to help shine a light on what those limiting beliefs are, and then experiential processes and exercises that help shift that belief. Because if you learned it through something experientially, you have to unlearn it through something experientially. And so that could be, going back and healing your inner child. It could be catharting about what it was, using that voice you didn't get to use. And so the first level is really about looking at what are my, underlying beliefs, where did they come from? Starting to do some of the healing process. Second level is really going into the fire of it and doing the healing work that will have you be free from your past. And I really call it like cellular shift. It's not just all happening up here, because we can read great books and there's a lot of great books out there, but you can't
Mm-hmm.
think yourself out of your limiting beliefs necessarily, because they're in your body. They're like cellular. So
Mm-hmm.
we do a lot of experiential stuff to help heal that, get beyond it. And then also, who did I come on this planet in this time to be? Like, Maybe it is having a breakthrough in your confidence. Maybe it's having a breakthrough in your passion. Maybe it's having a breakthrough in your commitment, whatever that is. And then we do a lot of experiential processes to help you really step into who you came here to be. And then our third level is really about practicing it out in your world. It's a 3-month coaching program, and we have 3 weekends that are like transformational weekends. You come back, you do work, and you're out in the world producing results. So people who are like, I want to start my own business, that could be a goal. They got to be juicy goals. I
Mm-hmm.
want to have a relationship, or I want to enhance this current relationship, or have a breakthrough with my mom, who I haven't talked to for more than 5 times in 10 years, whatever that is that they have a breakthrough in. And community service is a big part of it because I really feel like when your life is working and you're contributing, then, a lot of things shift around you as well. So that's a big piece of it. And then personal goals, like maybe you want to run a half marathon and you've never done that before, or you want to learn how to play guitar and write 3 songs and sing it in front of people. So
Mm-hmm.
they're out practicing the distinctions they've learned, being the person that they have declared themselves that they're committed to being, and then producing results and contributing and giving. So,
That is so inspiring. Everything you said, I love how it is like they're actually doing it. We're not just getting another audio, another
yes,
video. You're like
yeah,
holding them accountable to like, let's do these things.
100%. Because, when you're out in the world and your life is working and you're producing amazing results, and people are like, hey, what are you up to? What's happening? And you inspire people, and then they
Mm-hmm.
can become those people. And then the goal is that if everybody could be in that space, then this world would be a much better place to live in and to lead in and all of that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I love your be, do, have. That is
yeah,
just such a good way to like train the mindset. Like a little small shift. Because like I already do my affirmations in the morning and stuff, but like that idea of waking up and it's kind of I am, but you could change it to I will be and I
yeah,
am. Like just
yeah,
little shifts like that can totally change the whole day.
yes, totally.
Yeah. So you kind of touched on it a little bit, but like who did you create this experience for? Like what kind of students do you want to see coming into this?
Yeah, I really think this work is for people who, their lives are working, things are good, but there may be some blind spots. There may be some areas that are kind of holding them back a little bit from really being their most authentic, realized self.
Mm-hmm.
And so people who are committed to making a difference and an impact, because I think that's what people wake up to in this training. We have some processes where people are talking about that, initially they're thinking, yeah, I want a better job, I want more money, I want this. And then ultimately people get to, well, no, I really want love, I want connection, I want to make a difference, I want to make an impact. Because I think that maybe I'm crazy, but I think that is inherently in all of us. And
Mm-hmm.
what I love about this work is people will come in the first day and they're all judging each other and who's that person and look at them and blah, blah, blah.
Mm,
And then when everybody realizes they're there for the same healing and that they're not alone and they lower their walls, then they just fall in love with each other. And by the end of it, everybody's super connected and feels like family. And I think if that's possible in a training room, that's possible in the world. And we just get to risk ourselves and, be courageous enough to call it forward.
yeah, I love that. And that's, you kind of already touched on this, but what is the difference about the experiencing the transformation rather again than just reading another self-help book or listening to it on a podcast?
Yeah.
Um, what is the difference with actually
Well,
experiencing it?
yeah. I mean, if you think about it, we live sometimes in our minds and our brains, and that can run the show. And so being in even just an experience of being in your body and being silent and being connected creates a different experience. Same thing like when you have a really good cry, you feel lighter afterwards. There's a distinct shift and a change. And just thinking about the conversation that we're all vibration, we're all frequency, right? So if you're thinking something, it may or may not create that pivotal change. But if you're doing something experientially, there's closed eye processes we do that bring you back to your subconscious mind. And our subconscious knows everything that it needs to know about us. And that's where a lot of our healing can lie and take place. So, doing something experiential, again, it's what causes that cellular kind of shift versus just an awareness or an aha. It really creates a distinct shift in people.
Yeah. So, what is it that you think we're actually afraid will happen if we do change?
I heard this story one time about moldy peanuts, and I feel like people walk around with these moldy peanuts in their hands. There's a story like it goes like there's a guy walking in a desert and he's holding on to these moldy peanuts because there's no food and he doesn't see food for days. And he's just thinking, oh, if I let go of these moldy peanuts, what will I have? And then all of a sudden he comes upon this beautiful banquet of food and everything else, but he can't let go of his moldy peanuts because he's afraid he'll not have anything if he does, right? So I think we have our moldy peanuts. It's comfort. It's what we know. It's that, you know, I don't know any different. And if I let go of this way of seeing things or the world or thinking, then what do I have? And people I don't think always can see past, well, then my hands are open to receive so much more. So I
Yes,
think that is what makes it challenging for people.
that is like the best analogy. That is so perfect. I love it. You have moldy peanuts because
Yeah.
you're just so afraid to let go of what you already have
Yeah.
and not
Because then you
willing to
might have
see what's
nothing,
going to
but
come.
just for a moment. Yeah.
Yeah. On the other side of everything, what becomes possible when somebody stops living according to an identity that they have outgrown?
Everything. I mean, yeah.
Yes.
Like if you let go of what is real and you really step into that space of, like I call no thing, not nothing, but no thing. Like
Hmm.
I'm in a blank canvas because if my canvas is already painted with who I am and what I believe is true about me, then there's not much possibility for more. But if I create a blank canvas and come from a space of no thing, then everything is possible from that place. So it really
Yeah.
is designing your life, and being quiet enough to understand what your passion is and your mission is in life, and then live that, is what I think is possible.
Are you a Joe Dispenza fan?
I like Joe Dispenza. I have not seen him or anything. It's so funny you say that because people kept saying Joe Dispenza, Joe Dispenza. And I literally just today started listening to one of his audiobooks.
Yes. Yeah, the no thing is he goes
Oh,
on
is
a
that his
long
thing?
rant of like everything and no thing and there's a whole bunch of things and I love it. It's like a poem almost the way he wrote it out so nicely.
Oh,
Which
perfect. Well, I look forward to
which
hearing that.
which one did you start today? Be
Something about supernatural, like,
Becoming Supernatural?
yeah, becoming
So yeah,
supernatural.
you'll hear that eventually. Yeah. So
Okay,
I'm happy you
cool. Yeah,
started
I'm on
listening to
chapter
that.
one.
Perfect. You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, that's what I say.
Yes,
You're gonna
yes.
love it.
That's the thing with this work is it's everywhere. It's all around. You hear it through different means and different people. And at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer that we all want the same thing, and there's so many different avenues to get there. And so, if Joe Dispenza speaks to you and you go to his things and do his meditations, that's amazing, and
Hmm.
however you get to it, just get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe the same thing. I think we all have different entry points, is what I call them. Whatever entry
Yeah,
point is it, like go with it. Because some people ask,
totally.
like, what do you do first? It doesn't matter what you do first.
Yeah,
We all have different entry points.
totally.
Hmm.
I love that.
So. I want to reflect on you a little bit more with some of these questions. What is one practice that helps you return to yourself?
Um, I think meditation for sure. And then I have this thing that I'll do most mornings when I wake up, before I pick up my phone, before I start, all the things that distract us. I sort of walk through my day. And so I'll say, okay, today I'm going to get up and I'm going to have an amazing morning. I'm going to feel energized. I'm going to go to the Salt Cave, for instance, and I'm going to see some amazing clients. I'm going to, really make a difference for the people there. People are going to leave rejuvenated, etc. And then I just kind of walk through my day and
Yes.
declare it, and
Hmm.
then I start to get filled up with the feelings of what that would feel like. And then sometimes I'll say, and who do I get to be today to make all that happen? And then declare who I get to be. And then that really sets my day and helps me be in a really great space and create most of the things that I declare, if not all.
Yes, I agree. That is a big one for me too. I do that with like my entrepreneur work of what is it that I'm going to accomplish today? What am I going to get done? Because I have such big aspirations, and that really does help me. And then I don't know if it's Joe Dispenza or just other stuff I've read and heard, but like NBA players do the same thing. They
Ah.
see themselves practice, they see themselves walk up to the foul line, take the shot. So that visioning. And when you
Yes.
can vision yourself doing it,
Yes.
yes.
And then
Hmm.
feel it. Like it has to be both, like not just the imagining it, but really like filling yourself up with it. I think that's
Yeah,
the activator.
absolutely.
Hmm.
So, what is something you believe about healing now that you wish you had understood earlier?
Um, that it can be simple, that it doesn't have to be so hard. Because I think sometimes we don't go into healing things because we're afraid of how hard it's going to be, or that we're going to have to be in pain, or, whatever that is. But that it doesn't have to be hard. It can be gentle and it can be forgiving and it can be loving and all of those things. I think that's something that I am aware of now. I do a lot of HNLP coaching, humanistic neuro-linguistic psychology, which
Hmm.
does have people tap into their subconscious thinking, and they have all the answers. I love it. It's so content free. Like I lead them through something, but they're not talking back. It's all just happening in their subconscious, and they come out of it and they're just like, wow, this is what I saw, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes they're crying, but it's so gentle, and it's like we all have exactly what we need to heal ourselves, you know?
Absolutely. I love that answer. I think that was so perfect because part of me is like, it's all part of the journey. Like, I don't want to go back and change something, but just that understanding of it doesn't have to be so complicated. I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah.
So, what does wellness look like in your actual everyday life?
Um, I think it really just means giving myself what I need, listening to my
Hmm.
body, if I'm needing water, hydrate. If I need to get up and move, get up and move. If I need just some quiet time to listen to that as well, even if it's crazy busy. But just really listening myself and giving myself what I need. Because I think, like I said, I know what's going to serve me and not serve me. And if I ignore those things, then it just gets worse versus listening and heeding my own advice and taking care of myself in that way.
I agree. I just started that like this year. Like I told you, I was a teacher, and there was no meeting my needs. Like, don't go to the bathroom, can't
Yeah.
eat, can't like take 5 minutes to be quiet. Like, my life was just so much of overbearing and like not being, I could hear myself, but there's nothing I could do about it.
Yeah.
And so this past year has been like, I get to do those things now. And it's very strange. It has felt strange for the past year. Like, I get to just do yoga. I get to work on my computer and work on this project. Like, but it's nice and it's so
Yeah.
important. And I feel so much less stressed. and like overworked is really the main thing. Even though I
Yeah.
think I'm accomplishing very big things, but I don't feel that heavy weight like I did before.
Yeah. And it would be
Hmm.
so beautiful if if you could, I think if teachers could take the time to model listening to what you need. Like, hey kids, I need to go to the restroom. Everybody potties. So I'm gonna get whoever in here.
Hmm.
Right? Or, things like that. And I know sometimes we
Yeah.
make up can't do those things, but it's just such a good modeling too, I think, for little ones who get to also see like, oh, okay, I can ask for what I need.
Yeah.
So,
Because we don't
yeah.
teach that. And that goes back to your do. We have to do,
Mhm.
and then we can have.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'd love to teach this work in elementary schools. I mean, that's the formative years, and I think teachers are saints, they shape those little minds that are getting shaped. And if they have great role models and great teachers, then that can help offset some of maybe the things that they're learning that aren't really serving them. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, what are you currently becoming right now in this season of your life?
Um, Expansion. I just moved to 2 acres from a trek home,
Wow.
So,
Hmm.
and I'm learning that it's a whole nother world having 2 acres. I've got
It is.
rattlesnake issues. I've got, trees and, all these things. So it's really just expanding myself and going, okay, let me learn. Let me see how I get to get a bigger plate and be a bigger space to hold all of this stuff. And learning the lessons and seeing them as lessons because, we've had probably like 3 really massive leaks on our property. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, great. I'm learning how to run this show and be in this property. And money is a flow and abundance, right? And water represents abundance. So I'm creating a lot of abundance. And I'm just really like shifting my mindset so that I'm enjoying and I'm appreciating the lessons versus being a victim to them because then they'll just keep coming. So
Yeah,
yeah. So I think that's it. Really is just expansion and new levels of learning and figuring out how I get to expand myself so that I can be a bigger space for all the things that I'm really committed to creating.
I love that. I've been a country girl my whole life. So,
Oh, nice. Well, you have to give me some tips.
yeah. Yeah, I had a horse when I was younger, and it was my dad's like, we got to get more property. So we had 2.5 acres, and then the property I live on now is three.
Oh,
So,
nice. Yeah.
and my
Yeah.
husband's really enjoying that because he's always lived in more like tract homes, townhomes. And so he's been beekeeping. For me, I'm
Oh,
like, I just want to sit
wow.
on the deck. I just want to sit on the deck and
Yeah.
enjoy the beauty. But yeah, he wants to like use the land and
That's so
garden and
cool.
all of it. So yeah,
That's
we
really great.
I know what you're dealing with because it's
Yeah,
always something with owning a house with lots of property.
that is true. I'm learning that. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I chose this. Yay, here
Yeah.
we
You're
go.
always working on something. There's always going to be a
Yes.
project.
Yes, yes, definitely. Which is causing me to slow down on other things, which is great because I've been getting that message from people who like, I've had 2 friends who are like, Spirit told me I sent you a message and Spirit says I tell you. And I'm like, oh. But 2 friends in the same week were like, slow down. So I'm listening to that advice and, things are kind of moving out of my space, in terms of like a couple of work projects and things that I didn't think would, but I'm like, oh, and I'm receiving it and I'm going, great, this is an opportunity for me to slow down. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's been good. And then being here on the property, it's beautiful. Um, and I think slowing down will help me be more in gratitude about it as well, which will definitely help with the energy of the
Absolutely.
property. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And finally, what would you say to the person listening who knows something in their life needs to change, but hasn't found the courage to take that first step yet?
Yeah, I would say trust the process. If they're is something that is calling you, not to ignore it, that no matter what happens, everything is divine and in perfect order. And even if it doesn't look like it is, trusting that it is, and that we are rewarded for taking those leaps of faith. We are rewarded for risking, and just trust that there is a net when you take that leap of faith, and that there will always be a net for you. And that's the biggest thing, really focusing on what you want versus what you don't want. And I think sometimes when we do that, then we're more inclined to move forward if we're focusing on the forward. We talk about it in the training like front of the boat, back of the boat, If you're in the back of the boat, in back of your life and your history and going, oh my God, that happened and that happened and that happened and that happened, then who's rowing the boat? Nobody's driving the boat and your boat is going like this. But if you move to the front of the boat, and you get clear on, yep, I want to be over there on that island with that palm tree and so on, well, then you can drive it straight over there and it's a clear shot. So when we focus on what we want and what we're, you know, desiring, even if you're not committed to it yet, but if you focus on what you desire, that creates a different flow of energy, a different vibration, and things can start to shift in that direction. But you got to stay there. Life will throw you, or they say the universe will give you a curveball. If you're like, okay, I'm going to live on that island and the palm tree and whatever, then all of a sudden you hit, a big, huge wave in the water and it goes, whoa. And you're like, oh, see, I don't deserve that. No, you go, okay, that's my curveball. Let me just, shift gears here and continue going to that island because that is what I desire.
Hmm. I feel like
Yeah.
that answer was meant for me.
Oh,
Thank you.
good.
That was so good. So I
Excellent.
know someone else needed to hear it too, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. That's
Yeah.
great. I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We're
Thanks
so
for
happy
having
that
me.
you came.
Yeah,
And
this is fun.
yeah, we look forward to hearing more about the course and how it goes and all the opportunities at the Salt Cave as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and your kindness and just holding space. And it was really fun. So I appreciate it.
Before you go, I want to invite you into something with me. If this episode landed, if it made you think differently, feel something, or see yourself a little bit clearer, go leave a 5-star review. Then screenshot that 5-star review and DM it to me either on Facebook or Instagram. I'm entering everyone who does this into a giveaway for a free mini session with me, and your name stays in until you win. I really want to connect with you, see who's listening, and support you on a deeper level. So go leave a review, DM it to me, and I'll see you in my DMs.